So I've just come in from the garden where I was reading my Cities of the Plain, uh, which I was talking about in the last video, which I've semi ruined. I dropped it in the bath this morning, so part of sitting in the garden was to help me dry it out. I need to put a weight on it to let it recover its shape. The other half of sitting in the garden was to recover from gardening. But I was sitting out there laughing because Proust is terribly funny. And there's a passage in uh, Cities of the Plain that I thought, oh my goodness, I wonder, was Jacques Tati referring to this Proust episode in his film Mon Oncle when they had a fountain. They had this ultra modern house, and they had a fountain in the garden, and the fountain broke when they had visitors over and created absolute mayhem. And the episode in this, which is a terribly funny episode about people being invited to a very posh princess party, and super posh guests, so posh that you have to find somebody to introduce you to them. You can't just approach them or anything, even if you're invited. And one of the invitees, who's this rather dull and irritating socially woman, walks from the garden into the house up this fancy set of stairs that are a little bit too near to a fountain on a blustery day. And she gets absolutely soaked, and everybody thinks it's hilariously funny. But it's the whole atmosphere of it is so like what that Jacques Tati film is about, that part of it, just that section, because Mon Oncle is about the cusp of the change in Paris from sort of 50s into 60s, and industrialism, and uh, the Monsieur Hulot person works in a factory making plastics. So it's about the modern world and some of the kind of icky things about the modern world, and the nonsensical aspects. And this family lives in a super modern house with all this super modern kitchen. And I remember in the 50s, they used to kind of promote the ultra modern kitchen of the future. So they have one of those kind of show homes, and it's always on show. So they have this posh intellectual neighbor who comes over and kind of is very good at judging everything. You get this completely from her body language, because there's not a lot of speaking in it. Although it's a French film, you can't understand a lot of what is said. And probably if you were French, you wouldn't be kind of listening to that film for the dialogue, because Tati is from a background with kind of mime and I suppose kind of vaudeville stage style stuff. So a lot of the humor in it is kind of physical humor, and he makes all these wonderful little tableaus. But one of the little tableaus that he makes for his scene is the ultra modern garden with the fountain in it, which is a big fish pointing upwards, a terribly ugly thing, which only gets turned on if they have guests. So it's so suburban and keeping up with the neighbors. It's ridiculous, but it's terribly funny, and it's in exactly the same spirit as Proust. So I don't know if anybody's read this thing and seen Jacques Tati as well. That movie. Let me know. I've never heard anybody make that parallel, but I'm hoping the book will recover. But it's not going to be a very long video, but this book is relevant because this is part of a series of originally in 7 volumes. And in the last video, I was talking about, wanting to collect books and do something and maybe buy nice editions. And now I'm thinking, because I drop them in the bath regularly, um, I I'm thinking that I'm going to recover some of my paperbacks as hardbacks, and I have nice paper and some binding board on the way. And I did want to get more into bookbinding this year because it's very handy for making sketch pads and things as well. I think a few videos back, I was making sketch pads with Coptic binding, but this is going to be kind of case bound and slightly curved spine on them. But I want to have my Proust in 7 volumes again in hardback. So that's going to be coming up. Madame Pussycat is in the background there. If you remember, I was working on her, and she's looking very boring at the moment. But she's 3/4 of the way complete, which I'm glad about because I'm getting sick of that project, to be honest with you. It just went on too long. But it's at the fun stage nearly where I get to paint it up. So I'll show you that as well. The bookbinding video probably is going to come up first and quite soon. So for anybody who likes books, or even anybody that likes any doing things with fabrics, which I know a lot of people on my channel were subbed for that reason. It was stuff that I was sewing that they were interested in. You can make cloth covers for books and things as well, don't forget, and junk journals and things like that. It has so many uses being able to bind books as well as being able to fix books. Luckily, the spine isn't going to fall apart on this one. So I'll be able to laugh my way through the rest of this story. I'm really enjoying it so much. It's such a great book. Uh, I want to do reviews of books as well that I'm reading afterwards, where I don't give you the whole plot rundown and I don't give you any spoilers. I just tell you whether I think they're good books or not. And I forgot just how good Proust is. I knew I loved him, but I forgot how funny he is. He's hilarious. And this is such a funny uh, well, there are 2 volumes really in this, part one and part two. Well, part one is so short in it. Um, but they're part of a bigger series. But I had stopped reading them in the middle, you see, at this point, and I had read quite a lot of Proust. But it was a very long time ago I read them because I had these old editions that were 1970s editions. And I was trying to wait to be able to get the same little 70s pocket editions again, the collector in me, you see. And I never managed to get them. But I got my hands on this one recently. And so that's how the idea came about of putting it into 7 volumes like it was originally and getting my paperbacks and upcycling them to hardbacks. And then even if something drops in the bath, it's not the end of the world, you know. But I have very personalised looking volumes then, and I don't have to spend a fortune on duplicating books that I already had. Some of them I already had, you know. So look out for that bookbinding one really soon, and I'll go back to my story. And if you have not seen Mon Oncle, which is my uncle, obviously, in English, and you like funny movies, it's a masterpiece. All his films are masterpieces. Jacques Tati films are masterpieces. But do go and see that one. That one and Playtime, I think, and Traffic, actually. I like them all his movies. And if you haven't read Proust, you might be surprised at how accessible he is and how funny, you know. Okay, see you soon, folks. Bye.